Hey everyone, it's Jaden here from SpeedCubeShop.com, and today we're taking a look at a new MoYu cube, the MEILONG V2. So the big cool thing with this cube is that it has UV coating, but this is not the only version. There are two other versions that we have. These are non-UV coated versions. We have a stickered and a stickerless version, which we'll be opening up. I've already had a chance to kind of mess around with the UV coated one, and I've already kind of somewhat set it up. So I'm gonna use these as reference for the out-of-the-box experience. Now I'm not exactly 100% sure on what the price is for each of these cubes. I'll put them up on screen. In regards to the UV coated version, this actually isn't the cheapest UV coated cube. It's actually tied with the Diansheng 3x3 that is also UV coated for about $10. Not a lot of people know about that cube. I figured I'd throw that on your radar since it is pretty much the same price, and it's also a UV coated 3x3. So we're gonna go ahead and put the UV coated version one to the side and open up these other ones. And this is the stickered version. So something I noticed right away was that they're using a sticker for the logo instead of printing it on, like with the UV coated version, which kind of makes sense since this is a stickered puzzle. But pretty much what you get with these cubes is the cube, obviously the cube stand, and then we have a little accessories box here. And inside the box we have not much actually. So we have this little, I guess, cube solve guide, very small, and then the classic MoYu screwdriver. And the accessories are going to pretty much just be the same for all three versions. There's no difference. And then we'll go ahead and open up this other one, which is the same cube, just frosted. And this one actually has a printed on logo. But let's go ahead and do some first turns on this cube. And pretty much I'll go over my initial thoughts when I first opened up the UV coated one. Now when doing first turns on this cube, the first thing I noticed was how fast the cube was, especially for being straight out of the box and a budget cube. Now I also noticed that the magnets didn't seem as strong as they did on the original Meilong. Another thing I noticed was that the corner cutting was not that good, especially for feeling pretty loose and fast out of the box, which was kind of surprising. So it has a really loose and fast feel, but when you try to do any corner cutting, you notice that the cube actually feels quite tight. So it's kind of this weird paradox where it's loose and tight at the same time. So with all that in mind, and as we move on to the UV coated version, I have to say that it may not be entirely worth getting this cube, especially when there's a cube out there like the RS3M 2020 or even the Super RS3M, the standard version, both of those for about $10 and under. Both those cubes come with a dual adjustment system, something that this cube does not. So my kind of thought process when deciding between a cube like this and the RS3M 2020 pretty much comes down to, do you really want UV coating or not? Now the RS3M 2020 has great performance, it's under $10, and it has a dual adjustment system. While the MEILONG V2 has UV coating, it has relatively decent or okay performance, but it's not quite as good as the RS3M 2020. So now let's go ahead and move on. Let's actually take a look at the pieces first here. And as you can see, relatively simplistic design, but it does come with the dragon scale on the pieces. And because I'm sure some people are interested, this is what the core looks like. So as you can tell, relatively simplistic, not much to it, pretty basic 3x3. But now the question is, how does the cube feel and perform when it's fully set up? When the cube is actually set up, it doesn't have that really loud, crunchy sound to it, and it actually feels a lot smoother, it's not as sandy, and it actually performs pretty well. Now I did loosen the cube up a little bit in hopes that it would improve the corner cutting while still feeling somewhat stable, but that really wasn't the case. The corner cutting is still pretty much the same. Now for my overall thoughts, I think that this cube is actually pretty good, especially for the price. MoYu did keep it relatively low cost, which is good. That's kind of what we expect from a budget cube. And it is nice to see a cube that comes with UV coating that still is relatively cheap. So again, overall, I think this cube is pretty good, but when it comes down to whether you want the RS3M 2020 or the MEILONG V2, I think it really just comes down to how badly do you want UV coating on your cube. And that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts on putting UV coating onto low-cost cubes. Are you a fan? Are you not a fan? Let us know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.